everybody. We're back again to continue to talk about one of Robert Breedlove's articles on Medium called Sovereignism Part 1, Digital Creative Destruction. And this is Part 2.
We always do this with great papers.
Yeah, Part 2 of Part 1.
Let's get into Mr. McCaig. Let's get into energy is truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's his statement on here. And can you read the Nikola Tesla?
Yeah, he says, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency, vibration, and energy. If we create this large hadron collider, whatever the heck the thing's called, people are looking for that secret. They're looking for that, what they would coin a God particle. That's what people want to know. And Tesla's over here saying, if you want to find, the secrets of the universe, it's information. And it's information that's found in frequency, vibration, and energy. That's where it sits. It's the combination of those things. Does that not make sense? What is this vibration telling me?
When you say combination,
Mm-hmm.
I want to get into this because he's going to get into the energy side of things. But I want us to kind of, when we look at frequency, vibration, and energy, and we look at data, it is all of that. We are creating energy by the data that we produce. It takes energy to produce that. The frequency and vibration of that is very important. Like if I just go on Facebook, I mean, they'll ban me, but if I go on Facebook and I'm just producing hate constantly, negative hate, there's a frequency and a vibration and energy to that.
Yeah.
And that's data that I'm producing that has that. So I'm putting out there, and whether it gains, there'll be a certain group of people that will respond to that hate and take it and create it. I could create a tribe off of it and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But that frequency, vibration, and energy is my responsibility in the way that I'm producing that information.
Yeah, think about
it. And it is their responsibility it is not the government's responsibility. It is their responsibility also for the people that choose to associate with the hate that I'm putting out there.
Correct. The energy is the information.
Yes, there you go.
The frequency is the flavor of it, whether it's hate or it's love. That's the frequency. And the vibration is how often are we doing this stuff? Or you could do it actually vice versa.
Or rippling.
For frequency and vibration, you could say it vice versa for data. It's both, right? So energy is the information, and frequency and vibration, that just tells me the flavor and how often of that flavor.
Yeah, and he gets heavy into energy, and he says, I love this statement. He says, harnessing energy for self-generation is the aim of all life.
Harnessing your data for self-generation is the aim of your life.
Well, I want to get into evolution in nature, because I think that with that philosophical aspect of it, can you explain?
No.
No, you can't. Can you explain humanity in and of itself, and the essential core of the aim of life, like us as humans, and our, why are we here, and what do we want to accomplish? I know those are huge macro questions, but energy plays a role in this.
If you look at microbiology, you're looking at amoebas floating around on a petri dish, maybe a whole bunch of bacteria. The bacteria in its forms, it wants to grow, wants to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
But in order for it to do that, it has to consume some sort of energy so that it can go through a cellular mitosis, split, grow, evolve, divide, whatever it needs to do, so it can increase. All right?
So it needs energy and efficiency.
It needs energy and efficiency because it wants to live. Things at such a core level, all they want to do is live. They want to exist. So they reproduce. But they require energy to do that. So they're going to consume other amoebas, other bacteria. These things will grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. So at that core level of the thing that, especially you have so much bacteria in you, it wants to survive. But when I take an antibiotic, it kills all that bacteria in my gut. I'm no longer surviving at that point. What life wants to do is live. When's the last time you saw a tree outside and it just wants to croak over and die? When's the last time you saw a bird that said, screw it? I want to end it all. When's the last time a mountain said, I don't want to be a mountain anymore? When's the last time the earth stopped spinning? It just wants to go. It wants to evolve. It wants to move. There is movement. There is life. That's what it wants to do. It just wants to live. It wants to evolve to that next state, the next phase, that change of phase. That's what it's going through. And so when you ask me, what is it that we want to do? Well, we have to look at that energy to move us through those phase states. We want to evolve. We got to get to that next step. It's naturally what we want to do.
And we'll close out because I'm going to bring you back to that. But I love the statement. He says, energy is more efficiently converted to mechanical work in strongly bonded systems.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes, and then he explains, he says, in physical systems, these bonds are molecular.
Yes. I'll explain that. I'm going to take in a breath of air. Pull it in. The air is a different temperature than what's going on inside my body. I'm going to bring it up to my core temp. I'm going to process all of these molecules that are in there that are necessary for me to actually feed my blood and the red blood cells. And then I'm going to expend out. Through this exchange process, there's a bond of a human being with oxygen intake, and all, nitrogen, all that other stuff. That's what's going on. So through this, we create an energy efficiency through the lungs of taking exactly what we need and expelling what we don't. But it's a change of phase. But we need to take in that energy. If we don't, we cannot live. We cannot evolve. If I don't take in, more data through some sort of strong bond between my mind and the data I create, I don't have that energy to evolve. If one person is grabbing all that energy, holding it in a centralized effort, that's like taking oxygen away from the rest of the globe. It doesn't have that resource it needs to evolve. Does that bridge, that metaphor make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And so that was the physical system. And I want people to understand, not only in the physical systems, but he's going to talk about the economic system. Data is a part of all this. So when you think economic systems, you can think of data in there too. He says in economic systems, these bonds are property. Stronger bonds equal greater energy efficiency.
Yeah, because the stronger the bond, think about two molecules, right? Mm-hmm. They want to be attached because of these atomic structures. You got electrons flying around. Something's got to take the place of something else, right? It wants to be bonded. It has to have good cohesion to it. And once it's really cohesive, energy can easily move back and forth through this bond. Because it's like, I know that there's a solid medium of exchange for energy to move from here to here. Consider TARTLE. I have party A, party B, and the bond is TARTLE in the center. People can efficiently move data between one another and the value for that data in a free marketplace
without it being manipulated.
Yes.
By and then he says stronger bonds equal greater energy efficiency. Considerations of energy efficiency shape the tools and systems mankind creates for himself.
Well, that's what we thought about when we designed TARTLE. And I'm going to keep using this as an example here.
No, this is great. This is where maybe this will help people understand.
We wanted to consider energy efficiency. How efficiently can we make a process from taking data that you create, downloading it, taking your power back of it, putting it into something that can be moved, all right? Almost like taking your data and putting it into an atom, and I'm going to shift the atom from here to here. How efficiently...
That's data.
Yeah, that's all it is. How efficiently can we make that process? So party A to party B. We have a bonded system between these people looking for an efficiency. How quickly can we do it? Is time that essential? What's the frequency? What's the vibration? What's the energy? And that cost of that energy is what you receive in return for creating that data.
Yes.
Wonderful system.
Well, he says this, thermodynamically sound structures, this is so good, those which maximize utility, absolutely scarce energy, notice the word scarce, and then I'm going to say the statement on what you talk about, tend to become favored in free market competition.
Right, because if we're more efficient, if there's less waste, burn off of energy or heat dissipation, whatever it might, inverse square law, just sending energy out. The less we have that, the more concentrated and efficient that energy can become. It becomes more focused. And when you have a focus, you have an enhanced rate of evolution.
Right.
Like this pyramid we have here on the table, it comes to a point. It comes to a focus. You know where you need to go. And affording ourselves that focus of that energy helps us evolve. It's like having those train tracks and pushing us forward where we need to go.
Yeah, he says the ability to retain energy over time without dissipation.
Dissipation. That's what I'm saying.
Which I get. Yeah,
so
exactly.
The energy's just going out and it's dissipating. We don't want that. How do we put it in a beautifully bonded system where it doesn't have that waste?
Yeah, dude, listen to this.
Go ahead, hit me.
In a universe where life continuously competes for its share of finite energy, and he uses this word. I need to look this word up. You probably know what it is, but prolificacy is ruinous.
Profligacy?
Yes, is ruinous. So you have to think of it. So we have finite energy in a universe. And what are we arguing over?
Yeah. Profligacy is the character or condition of being profligate. A profligate or a very vicious course of life. So we're just killing each other. We're We're not being efficient with our systems. It's just one person wants to maintain control, and I want it all at whatever cost. That's what it is.
And he says, as the most accurate portrayal of reality, energy is truth. Conservation of energy then is conservation of truth. The key to success in competitive conditions for organisms and organizations alike.
Yeah.
That strong bond that he's talking about. The conservation of truth.
Yeah. And if we have truthful data, this energy with this frequency and vibration, if we choose to conserve that, if we choose to put it in a strongly bonded system, TARTLE, and we all choose to adopt that, TARTLE,
right,
then what we're doing is we're finding that increased rate of evolution, and we're not wasting something that's in front of us. We respect it for the energy it has. We respect it for its ability to allow us to create conditions for health and growth and all of these things alike.
Stopping the allocation, I'm going back to the article, stopping the allocation of human energy into management of, and he puts that into paragraphs, management of, more accurately, politicking over the power to manage the money supply, mankind liberties, his energies to construct more robust social structures on the unshakable foundation of immutable money. Mm-hmm. So, and those sound like big words, but the management of.
Yeah, centralized banks want to manage.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want you to have the energy or the power. They don't want you to have it. That's why they're a central authority doing this. Otherwise,
it's the top-down approach.
It's a top-down approach. By the way, it's never worked. Ever. Imagine if the Earth took a top-down approach. What species would be left here?
Well, because I want people to understand this. If money is energy, because that's what it is. Mm-hmm. You know, we're because we will give up all of our energy as humans to get a paycheck. Every week we give up energy to get a paycheck. Then from there we purchase things, mm-hmm. you know, with consumerism. So we're transferring this energy around, and whether it be data, whether it be a currency, whatever it may be, we're transferring this around. This, and he uses thermodynamics, which I think is perfect.
That's fine.
And it's agnostic, all of it. He talks about it being neutral territory.
That's all it is. Yeah, doesn't care. It doesn't have a dogma.
But whenever you add military, whenever you add political affiliation,
dogma.
Whenever you add proximity to
dogma.
Our dogma, yeah, exactly. Like the eagle with the God. It's like, okay, now you've got to interpret. I was thinking about that if you said that, you know, because that's what we have in the United States here. So, okay, now what is the definition of God?
Yeah.
So how are we going to rule people
if you put
with
God,
what definition of God?
If you put God on your money?
Because God, the definition of God has changed. It changes. It evolves over time because it's just a consensus. That definition of God is just a consensus of the people at the time. So now you have no stable government.
No.
And he Clausewitz, he gives this. He says war. He gives this quote from Clausewitz: "War is the continuation of politics by other means." Oh,
well, it sucked here in the boardroom. So all right, let's hop in the jet, launch a missile, call it a day.
So I want us to look at the word money, or we can use
money is as scarce as the energy necessary to produce the fruits of labor to which it lays claims. Let's think about this system, and dear world, let me walk you through this. I go to buy a car.
Right.
Before I go in there to buy a car, I have to make sure that I can walk there.
Right.
I got to get to the dealership. Okay. Maybe I already have a car. Well, I have to go buy gasoline. But in order for me to do that, to work, to earn an income, to purchase this other energy thing to get me where I need to go, I have to feed myself. If I have no caloric intake, my body can't move. It can't think or have thoughts. So where do I get caloric intake? I get it from food. So before I can do anything, I got to go eat first. And before that food can actually be produced, it needs to have energy from the sun. If I'm eating meat, then the cow has to eat the grass, and the grass grows through photosynthesis, coming from the sun, a pure energy source. Energy is the base. I can't buy that car if it's not for the sun. I can't have money if I don't eat. I can't have thoughts or data unless I have sunlight. If you go all the way back, the fruits of your labor can be thanked to one thing and one thing only, and that's the sun, infinitely producing energy. So if we can capture this energy, we can then change the phase state of that energy into something where we can actually have a useful evolution with it. But right now, money, in the sense of our central authorities, don't look at it like that. Not at all. It's not for you to capture. It's for them to capture. And in doing so, it prohibits.
You can borrow from them. We'd love for you to borrow from them.
The thing is, you're borrowing energy from them.
Mm-hmm. You don't own the energy.
You don't own the energy.
They own it.
And when you go to work for something, you're working for something that you will never own. So when he even talks about Bitcoin being honest money, it's really about you owning your energy. It's what you choose to absorb. It's the fruits of your labor to which you want to lay claim.
So you have, you've paid your mortgage off. You own your house. You've paid your car off. You own that. You have no debt. Mm-hmm. Don't pay your taxes for 10 years and see if you own that house and own that car. What do you think the government's going to do if you don't pay your taxes for 10 years? They're going to seize your property.
They're going to seize your property.
And so you don't really own that.
You've never owned it.
No. And he says this, when rules can't be bent and money, or you could put data there, can't be easily confiscated through political measures, the pursuit of peaceful cooperation becomes the most productive strategy. Mm-hmm. Immutable money, politics, and he gets into this, and he says, all human rights may be distilled into one. And he says that's choice. So sovereignism, this is what we get into sovereignty.
You and I talk about this all the time.
I know, we do, yeah.
We say that's a huge human right. That's number 3 for us.
But when rules can't be bent and politics can't get involved, that exchange of energy becomes pure and truthful.
And efficient.
You
know what's going on, Tartle? There's no rule bending. It's a straightforward, heavily bonded, efficient process.
It's an exchange, purely a simple exchange
of
from
information and energy.
Seller to buyer, buyer to seller.
Yeah, it's information and energy between two bonds. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yes.
We got this beautiful, strong molecular structure happening. No rule bending, nothing. It's transparent. It's straightforward. People know what they're getting into. There's no politics around it. It's your information, your thoughts, your energy, and you're asking to receive benefit for that energy.
And he gets into Bitcoin a little bit, and we talk about Bitcoin a lot, our cryptocurrency. As a 12-year-old digital disruptor, and he's talking about Bitcoin, to one of the most ancient and important tools in the world, gold, Bitcoin is a tectonic shift in human organization. Gold is the 5,000-year-old base layer monetary operating system for all modern systems of human governance. Until recently, all human governance was based off of gold for money, an ancient sovereignty system that has been corrupted by central banking. Breaking the centralized stranglehold on money by disrupting it at the base layer. Bitcoin forces a total revamping of the social economic system derived from money.
Yeah. That means the fabric of energetic value put into something which we coin as money is no longer based on a corrupt central authority. It's based on what we as people determine its value of. Data is valuable to me. I will not sell it to you until I see the value that I recognize in it.
Yes. See, that's a problem. And this is what I would say would be the basis of life is value. And we talked about this before, but the reason that corporations and governments see the value of your data, we as human species globally have not seen the value of our data because we value. And I'm not picking on Instagram, but that seems to be the number one. I think
it's just Facebook, an easy example.
Yeah, easy example. And like I said, I'm not picking on Facebook, that who owns Instagram. We see it as Facebook. The entertainment is the value that we're perceiving. So it's like, oh, I signed these 2 private things. It's free.
Yeah, but entertainment doesn't give you the energy to survive.
No.
Entertainment does not help you evolve.
No.
Energy helps you evolve. Mm-hmm. You're giving them all the energy and getting nothing in return.
And they're evolving.
And then you're like, crap, they're evolving. And then I'm the tiny piece of bacteria, and they're the huge one that continues to swallow more.
And that's evolution.
They're a king of the petri dish.
Yes. He says, Bitcoin is momentous monetary innovation enabling a new mode of non-nation state human organizations.
Yeah, it's
a purified form of capitalism, free of nation state interference, and deserving of its own. And he uses this neologism.
Listen, It's not the fact that Bitcoin is worth $51,000 or $61,000. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The most fundamental part of it was the adoption that people will determine the value or the choice of what they want to use to buy goods and services.
Yes.
That is the most fundamental point. If you want to take a stand against corrupt central banking authorities all over the globe, including the one in your own country, buy your goods and services in a cryptocurrency, in a currency, whatever it might be, where the human being chooses its value. Not some centralized control system. As a collective, where we all agree upon it, not one person telling us what it is.
It's a bottom-up organic approach.
Yeah, because that's how things work. The hive fails if the bees are not actually going out and collecting the honey. As simple as that.
And we've talked about this before. The hives are the most efficient thing in nature.
They're the most efficient
90-something% in nature. So the more efficient you are.
Yeah, and there's hives everywhere. They're decentralized.
Yes.
Gosh.
It's the same thing. So let's close this out, because the next podcast we're going to get into sovereignty of your data and sovereignty of you as an individual. When we look at this energy as truth, and we look at TARTLE and that energy exchange, how important is it for, and I want to take from two approaches, how is it important for people to get on TARTLE and sell their data, but how is it important for corporations and governments to get involved with TARTLE?
It's so important for them because then they say, okay, I want truth. I want information I can act upon that's really beneficial, rather than me just collecting things and I'm assuming it's the truth or guessing about it. And by doing that, you're also creating an economic balance. You're respecting human beings. If you want to be a respectable company, you got to respect human beings. And you do that by going to them directly and say, hey, I want to create a strong bond with you as an individual. And I want to pay you for your energy, so that you can help me and we can feed in full circle a process that benefits both of us in both of our evolutions, not just one. That's why it's so important for everybody to get involved in TARTLE right this second.